On the next slide, you have to get the boundaries and fill in the missing numbers in the middle. So this one says round 363 to the hundreds place. I first have to find the value that is in the hundreds place, which is 300. So that's the number I will start with as my first boundary. Then I'm going to find my next boundary by counting by hundreds and finding the next 100. So after 300 comes 400 if I'm counting by hundreds. Next, I'm going to find the middle boundary, which would be 350, because halfway between 300 and 400 is 350. So now I'm going to continue going up by tens until I get to 400. So it'll be 310, then 320, 330, 340, I already put 350, then 360, 370, 380, 390, and lastly, our boundary is 400. Next, I'm going to take my purple dot and I'm going to place it onto the number line where I think 363 would be. And I would say that's right after 360, just a little bit after that. Now I'm going to decide if my number should round down to 300 or round up to 400. Because it's after the medial line of 350, I'm going to round up to 400 because it is closer to 400 than it is to 300. It's only about 10, 20, 30, 40 away from 400 as compared to it's about 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 away from 300. So it's definitely closer to 400. On the next one, you're going to practice rounding numbers by just finding the boundaries and not using the number line. So I'm going to start with this one in the middle. So I'm going to find out the two boundaries for the number 95, and it wants me to round it to the nearest tens place. So I'm going to look right here in the tens. The value of that 10 is 90, and the boundary, I'm going to count by tens to go up to the next 10. So 90, then 100 would be our next 10. So now I'm figuring out, does 95, is it closer to 90 or is it closer to 100? If we get a 5 or more, let it soar. We need it to soar over here to 100. 4 or more, let it rest. So because I wanted to soar and it's closer to 100, it's going to round to 100. Next, I'm going to round this one, 761, and it says round 761 to the nearest hundreds place. So I'm going to find the value of the 7 in the number. So that value is 700. And then I'm going to count by hundreds to get my second boundary. So after 700 comes 800. And now I'm going to look to the number next door to see if it's 61 or if it's 761 is closer to 800 or is it closer to 700. Because it's after 750, I'm going to round it up to 800 because it's closer. It's only about 40 away from 800 as compared to about 60 away from 700. So I'm going to choose 800.